Hello my friends, Rosa here outside the workshop, and I've got my 2009 Polaris Ranger. The gas gauge has never really worked very well on this thing, especially since I've had to replace the fuel sending unit and all that. Long story short, I bought a replacement unit. I'm going to put this in the tank. The tank is way over there, and I'm going to put this down in there, and hopefully that'll give me some indication. This goes up and down with the level of the fuel, and hopefully that's going to work. And then here's the actual unit, or the gauge. So I plan to put the gauge right here. So I've got to drill a hole here, drill a hole in the tank, and then somehow get a wire from way over there all the way over to here. It's just not easy being me. Quite honestly, the sun's so bright out here, I can't tell if I'm in camera or not. I hope so. So I'm going to drill my hole right here. I've got a 2-inch drill, and this should do it. There we go. Ain't no going back now. We got a 2-inch hole. Let's see if that'll work with this. I think it will. Should. Boy, it's just tight. It's going to be tight. That's good. I'm glad it's tight instead of loose. Perfect. That's perfect. Golly. I'm tickled with that. And then we've got the ring that goes up on the inside. I can probably get that on from right here. Yeah, in fact, I can. That's why I decided to put it here, was because I had good access to it. And I could pull this little rubber boot out and get to this. That was the main reason I put it right there. Plus, I can see it right through my steering wheel and tell it, you know, if it's full or not. Now the tricky part is getting a hole in the tank without getting a whole bunch of shavings down in the tank, and, you know, getting a wire run over to this. So we'll get started. Well, it was getting really hot outside. I went to lunch and came back, and now I've moved the Ranger inside the shop. That's what the finished gauge looks like. It turned out really nice. Couldn't ask for more on that. It fits perfectly. It's just enough space to put it in there, and that was a good open space under here also, which is very important. And it's probably the easiest place I can get to that. Everywhere else there's like a double dash and you can't get to it. So this is going to work out great. So we moved over to the other side. I've cleaned this spot here. I'm going to put the gauge right here, or the sending unit I should say. The trick is, there's two tricks. Number one, I have to find enough area here where we can seal, and I think this area right here is the only place, because the rest of this is ribbed. I think that's the only place we can get it to seal. Second, it's also in a deep spot in the tank, so I think it's going to be fine there. And third, I've got to get a hole drilled in here that doesn't drop a lot of stuff down in the tank. That's the hard part. I don't know if I can do that, but I'm going to give it my best shot. I'll get the vacuum out as I drill it, and hopefully we can at least keep it to a minimum. Okay, I think I've got the right size hole. It just needs to be big enough to let this black thing pass through. I hope this works. I'm going to turn on the vacuum. Well, quite honestly, it probably dropped something down in the tank. I don't think you could do that without dropping something in the tank. But on the other side of that coin, I hope it's okay. And is the hole big enough to get this through? Just barely. And to me, that's the exact perfect size. Okay, now that we've got this in place, I'm not going to worry about sealing it yet or anything. I'm going to figure out how to run the wire. I can go up and over and down and behind the dash, or I can go under and up and to the dash. I would prefer to go under and up. The only hesitation is, can I get it through there where there's no wire exposed to the outside? And if I can, I'll probably do that. So I'm going to do some investigation and figure that out. Well, my friends, I have the unit back out of the dash. I'm going to plug it in to the wiring harness. It's a very small little wiring harness, not much to it. According to the directions, this red wire and I can tell the difference. There's a red, an orange, a black, and a blue, so I can actually see those colors. It's not easy, but I can tell them apart. I guess it's possible I could have the orange and the red mixed up, but I think I've got them right. The red's usually darker. So I've got the red, the blue, the black, and the orange. And the red goes to the battery through a switch. The orange also goes to the battery through a switch. The black goes over to the sending unit, which is what you saw me install just a moment ago, and the blue goes to ground. So that's what we got to do. So what I thought I would do is to try to connect this up temporarily and just see if it's even working. So give me a second and I'll hook that up and we'll see if it's actually working. Well, it's always the good news, bad news, good news, bad news thing. The good news is it wasn't too hard to get to the switch wires, and here they are. I've unplugged them. But the bad news is I found two wires that have been chewed off. Now, I don't know what they go to, but you can tell they've been chewed off by rats, and they're completely gone. That could be some of my charging problem. It could be almost anything. So I have no idea where those go yet, but I'm going to have to figure that out. I don't think they're anything I put on it because they're wrapped in some kind of tape all the way around, and I don't generally do that. I don't know where they go though, so I'm going to try to trace those down and figure that out. I've also figured out which wires are the hot wires here. The furthest wire to the right is hot, as maybe you can see on my meter here, if I can get that in a spot where you can see the meter, and I don't know if I can, but if I touch this one to ground and touch this one to the hot, you can see it went up to 12.79, so we're getting, 12 volts to this first terminal. The rest of them are not hot, so I assume they're switched. I need to connect my wire to one of these switched terminals, I suppose. All of this is just guess, is really what it amounts to. And the other thing is, how easy is that to do? And it's not very easy, but I'd have to cut one of these wires and splice in my wire or something. I would like to test it before I had to do that, but unfortunately that doesn't seem real practical. This wire here pulled out a little bit, so maybe it's loose enough that I can cut it, splice it. Boy, I don't know. Don't know what I'm getting into here, but you got to do something, because it'll never get done if you don't do something. Well, this is back in a hole, and I doubt you're going to be able to see anything, but I have to see, so sorry. I'm just going to assume that this wire is going to be good enough. I've got my new Tasman wire strippers here, and I'm going to try it on this and see how it goes. So I got two wires there exposed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one wire and make it a Y, and put some connectors on it where I can connect this wire plus my new wire. Well, I've got three of these wires wired together because I need two of them that are switched. And so I've got the original switched wire plus my two new ones, and I'm going to see if I can't solder them in here. It's tight spaces, so soldering is not exactly easy. And I would get them all three connected very well. That way I don't have to worry about that connection. And I've got a blue spade terminal. This one may or may not fit on there, honestly. Now, especially with all the solder I have on there. Got a little blob of solder there. I may try to unsolder that little blob. That's better. I smoothed it out. This blue connector's a little bigger than the red one, so I'm trying to use the blue one. I may have to go to the yellow one if I can't get the blue one on there. I really didn't want to go to the big one, but I might have to. Nope, it's going, I think. I got the blue one on. When you know, this blue one just broke. So that's probably an indicator that it's the wrong one. I probably need to go to the yellow one. Hopefully we can get the yellow one to work. Alright, so the yellow one's on there. Now I'll try the crimpers. I'm going to use the crimpers on this because it's tighter space and I think these will fit in there better. And now I need to put a connector on this end of this wire. I think I'm going to strip just a little bit more wire off. Okay, I have a yellow spade connector there, so I think I'm going to just put a red female connector there. Oh, I went too far and I cut it. Doggone it, I just wasn't paying attention. Now I got a problem. I've shortened my wire. That was dumb. Well, I think I can still salvage it, but it's getting short. That wasn't good. All right, try that again. All right, this time I got to be careful about my crimp. That seems to have gotten it. Nope, it didn't make it tight enough. Doggone it. I just am not catching a break here. I think I got it that time, finally. And now I hope I can make these two connect up. That's my problem. I'm not sure they will. Yeah, they do. Okay, that worked. I had a ground wire on here. I was leaving it on there, but it's just in the way. I don't need it on there. Now I just need to get this back up to the switch. I think I'm going to tape this up so that it doesn't come apart by accident. I don't think it will, but you know, in case something gets pulled on, because the connection's a little bit on the janky side, if you will. I think it's solid enough that it'll work, but it's just in case it gets pulled on or something. Alright, I think that'll make it solid. And now I've got my two wires here. I thought this was a red and yellow, but it's actually a brown and yellow. But I'm going to use the brown like it's red. Being colorblind, you know, I didn't realize it until I'd already committed to this wire, but I'm pretty sure this is brown. Once I got it over here where I could see the red, this isn't the same color. So let me strip the other end of this with these strippers. Yeah, I really do like these Tasman strippers. They're, a lot of people say that's the amateur type stripper, but I'll tell you what, these are fast, man. They work so good, and you don't have to worry about what size wire it is. You just do it. Okay, so I've got to get this fished over to that switch, or actually to the meter. I have to get that fished through there. But before I do that, I'm going to try to get this plugged back in to the switch. And I think I can do that. The worst part of this is seeing. It's plugged in. So we should be good. Technically, we should have power here on both of these once we turn the key on. That's the way I think. So should I test that, I guess? I'm a little bit leery of testing it, but I don't know. I think I'm going to trust it and feed it through first and then test it once I get it over there. Because it's kind of awkward to test it on this side with the key being on the other side, and I don't want to have the battery running very long. Now I got to find a way to get it through there, and I think I can figure that out. I'll probably turn the camera off and just find a way to get it through there. Okay, getting that wire fished over here was fairly easy. I don't want to get ahead of myself. These wires are long enough, I can pull them back through here and work on it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this and then connect these wires up. At least that's what I'm thinking to do right now. They did a nice job designing that. The hole size really turned out pretty darn good. In fact, I probably need the hole a hair bigger actually, but it doesn't matter. It's perfectly fine the size that it is. So this red one's going to go to my brown, and the yellow one's going to the orange. The blue one goes to ground, which we got to figure that out yet. And the black one goes over to that unit, which also has a ground. So we got to figure all that part out. But right now we can connect this up. And quite honestly, I don't see any reason why this needs to be separate. I don't think this needs to be separate wires or anything, because it's all going to one place on the switch. So I'm just going to bundle them together and connect them together, just like that. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work. I guess I ought to test it first, so I'll hold this and turn the key on. Well, not so much. I'm not getting anything on my meter here, unfortunately. I thought I would. Oh, we don't have it grounded. That's the reason, probably. Let me get the ground on there. Temporary ground wire. Oh, well, I don't have it connected to the sending unit, so, but at least I should get the light, I think. So let me just test that out. That's all we'll be testing is the light. But I got to get it grounded first. Okay, well, I don't know where I left off. I got a little confused on this wiring thing. I do have a ground wire hooked up to the blue, so this unit is grounded. Technically, the way I see it, this orange is supposed to be the backlight. So if I connect my yellow wire to this orange and turn the key on, I should get a light. But I don't see a light. Now, if I connect the red wire, which is the meter, to this charge, it jumps over to the full. So it jumps over, so I know we're getting power, but I don't see a light. So I don't get that. This black wire is supposed to be the signal, I think, but I do not see a light. So I don't know if the light part's working or what the deal is there. That's got me a little concerned. You would think the light should work. Oh well, let's keep going, see what happens. Well, I got the gasket on here, and I'm going to put self-tapping screws in this. This is not the way they show to do it. They have actually threaded screws, but the problem is, this is plastic, and I don't know how to cut threads. I mean, I could cut threads in there. There's no doubt I could, but I don't know if I want to go to all that trouble. I think I'm just going to put these self-tapping screws in here, and I think it'll work. I hope it works. I don't know if it's got enough reach on the threads. Not really sure. Seemed like it did. That seems pretty solid, actually. This one here is off, so I'm going to use a longer. Well, actually, maybe not. I don't know if that screw will go through there. That screw seems to be bigger. Darn it! Never seems to work like you want it. Well, I'm going to see if I can find another screw for this, because these are kind of short threaded screws. But that's really solid. It's very solid. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I'll just have to keep my eye on it, see if there's gas sloshing out of there. I don't know. There might be. It's possible, I guess. If there is, I'll have to just take it out, put some caulk around there or something. This is a little longer screw. I think it'll screw it down in there. And it did that. That's really solid. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I'll worry about that later if that's a problem. I think that may have gotten out of focus, wouldn't you know, but anyway, that's all screwed in, and I think it's going to be fine. Once again, it's going to be an impossible thing for you to see, but I have a stick run from the front of the machine underneath the floor back over to a compartment over there, and I can see the stick. I'm going to try to connect the wire to the end of that and pull it through. So I have this wire here that I can use to pull it through. This is like trailer wire. But the problem is there's no room down in there to wrap tape around this and hold it. So I'm going to try a wire tie and see if I can get a wire tie to work in there. And quite honestly, I don't know if that's going to work either. There just ain't no room. I don't know if I can get my hands in there. And then being able to see on top of that would be really nice if you could see with some light, and I don't think you can. Well, let's see. I can reach the stick, and I can reach the wire. This will be that one time that wire tie will want to go on the wrong way. I got it, I think. Oh my gosh. If I pull that stick, hopefully this wire is going to be coming down. Maybe you'll be able to see this wire move. I don't know. Well, that worked. I got the wire through, and we got plenty of wire here. Just to make sure I don't end up losing this wire, so I'm just going to tie it through here real quick and just kind of wrap it up so that it can't get pulled through. Just tie that up like that. That'll give me more than enough wire on this end. I'm going to see if I can get that wire fished up through to that control unit over there. So now I got that wire that I got fished out the front, I've got to fish it up through and come out through here. I might have got it someplace close. Look at there. I got her out. All right, so I'm going to go over there and make the connections to something here. I don't know what yet. I only need 2 of these 4 wires, but it don't hurt to have extra wires, that's for darn sure. All right, so one of them's red. And again, I'm going to use the red as brown because that's the closest color match in my eyes, being colorblind. Yeah, they sent us some wire crimps with this fuel sending unit, so I might as well make use of them. I'm going to use the brown as my red, as I said. Put that in there. Got the red one in, now I'm going to get the brown one in. And at least I think I am. It's got other ideas. It's not cooperating at all. Maybe I should just get the brown one on there first because it's a hard one. If I get it in there and then get it crimped, then I should be able to go to the next one, right? Yeah, those, I don't like their crimps at all, so I guess I'll get my own. Try my crimp and see if it works better. That feels solid. My goodness. And then we'll put the red one on that one. And then we're going to use the white as the ground because white is often ground on trailers and things. That one didn't crimp either. Doggone it. I'm not really fond of crimp connectors to begin with, and I'm sure having issues today. That seems to work. Alright, so I'm going to tape this up. Just because I can, I guess. Probably wouldn't have been a bad idea to shrink wrap this, but this will be fine. Let's just even hope it works. If it works, I'll be tickled. Quite a bit of tape around it here, so to keep it still and together. That should be more than enough. Now, oh, I screwed up. I didn't get this under here like I was planning on it. Doggone it. I told myself I wasn't going to forget that, and I forgot it. Doggone it. Well, there ain't nothing to do but to just do it over, so I'm just going to cut it off and do it over, because I just, yeah, whatever. I tell you, sometimes, especially when I'm on video, I just start doing things and don't think. So, we will get it fed through the right place this time. Not even sure where I want to feed it through at, actually. But I guess right there's as good as any. Well, that was simple. Not. Okay, now we can move back over to that side and see if we can get it all connected up. I thought about cutting this wire off, but I think I'm going to leave it long just because I can. No other reason. And I can fold it up under the dash. We still have to get this white and blue wire to ground. I think I'll do the ground wire first, and I'll go inside the battery compartment to do that, I think. So here's the wires here, and I think what I'm going to do is and make a connection to the ground wire here. Here, I'll cut the white wire right here. And now I'm going to put a ring connector on this and connect it to the negative terminal there. Okay, so I'm just going to connect these two grounds together. I mean, it's one ground, I just cut it in half. Put it back together, put a round eyelet on here, or whatever you call this thing. Then crimp that. All it takes is just one more tool. Every time I start to do something, it's just one more tool. Uh-oh, something's clicking. I must have the key on by accident. Yeah, of course, I left the key on all that time. Alright, that should be a good ground. And I'm not going to worry about this wire yet. I'll tidy it up after I get all the connections made. So let's move back around to that side and we should be ready to connect this thing up finally. Alright, so we just have the blue wire and the white wire. Let me try to untangle these things here first. The blue wire is the ground wire, and that'll go to the white. Well, I'm pretty sure this one coming from the tank goes to this black signal. I hope I'm doing this right. Maybe I should just connect them together temporarily, turn the key on and see how it works. That's probably what I'll do, because this is confusing. I gotta be honest, it's confusing as heck. Alright, I'm gonna turn the key on. Hopefully we'll see the gas gauge work. Oh, the light came on and the gas went over and it says 3/4 of a tank. Awesome, and the back light is on. So I am right. I can just connect all of these together. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do then. Yeah, I don't know why I even ran separate wire here, 2 wires from the switch. I could have just ran the 1 wire. But I didn't know that at the time. Or I didn't think about it at the time, I should say. And I think we're done. Well, I mean, we're done with the wiring. Let's turn it on. Okay, it clicks all the way over to the full first, and then it rises back up to the 3/4 mark, which is about right. I'll clean this up. You don't need to see me do all that. Oh, what the heck, might as well show you. Why not use a wire tie to tie up wires? You know, why not? So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to connect these all together in a loop so that they, you know, kind of stay together and don't get pulled. These ends don't get pulled that way. And I'm going to put them back down inside here. I'll cut this extra off. We don't need that on there. Of course. Why would it go any other direction? Why would it go anywhere but except at the emergency brake? Okay, I think it's pulled away from it enough. Yeah, it's clear. It's plenty clear. Okay, so I can put this back on. Okay, we got it. So that's back in where it's supposed to be. Now we will tidy up under the hood. Kind of got a bird's nest up here. So a lot of wire coming through in different places. I think I'm just going to tidy it up like so. It's nice to have extra wire. I'd rather do that than cut it all off. Now the only thing left undone is, I told you I found 2 wires that are cut off, and I'm going to look, investigate, and figure out where that goes. I don't know if I'll be able to figure that out or not, but I'm going to be looking for that. If I figure it out before we get this video out, I'll update you on where those wires go. Well, my friends, I think I'm going to call it done on this video. Let's just turn it on one more time, make sure it's still working. Here's the, watch for the light to come on here and watch for the needle to move. Maybe you can see it. I'll zoom it in a little bit. There goes the needle, and then it comes back up to 3/4 tank. And the light is still on. Well, I'm really liking that because it's been a pain not having a good gas gauge. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed, how about doing that too? Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next video. Thought I'd show you that my gas gauge is working. I still have not had to put any gas in this thing since I put the gas gauge in, but we're down to 1/8 of a tank now, so I'm curious to see when I'm going to run out. Will I run out right on E, or will I run out a little before that? You know, it really doesn't make too much difference to me as long as I know when I'm going to run out, versus this thing over here, which I could never see or tell, and it never has been accurate. Of course, it's saying fuel right now, so it's probably pretty low, and I think it is.